Hello, everyone. It is week number 4 of Biology 120. We are about halfway through the term. So let's see what we've got going on. All right, so last week you learned about classification. You learned about the 3 domains, eukarya, eubacteria, and archaebacteria, and the fact that there are bacteria in the world and there are eukaryotes. And eukaryotes are everything else: animals, plants, fungi, and protists. And how the differences in cell structures helps us to treat things like bacterial infections. You talked about antibiotics, you talked about antibiotic resistance, how we use antibiotics in livestock, which is unbelievable that we still do this, but we do. But it's becoming less and less of a phenomenon. So anyway, you discussed that. This week is all about cellular respiration and photosynthesis. So cellular respiration is the way that organisms break down their food to make energy. And energy comes in the form of one particular molecule, and that is called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. ATP contains the energy. It has a high energy bonds, and those high energy bonds are released, are broken, and the energy is released to enzymes for all of them to do their work. And so that's why ATP is so important, and that's why food is so important. So there are 2 reasons that food is broken down. One is to make ATP molecules, because that's the fuel that runs all the cells, and to make all the little molecular subunits that you need to make your own molecules, like nucleotides to make nucleic acids, amino acids to make your proteins, simple sugars like monosaccharides to make carbohydrates, and then fatty acids to make lipids. So we are going to talk about cellular respiration and metabolism. Metabolism is the sum total of all the chemistry that happens in cells and in organisms. So what do you have to do this week? Read, at least skim through chapters 6, 7, and 8 in your OpenStax textbook. Remember, that's a free textbook, so please use it. Watch my video that I'm going to have in this announcement section on aerobic versus anaerobic types of respiration and breaking down food. So when you guys chose your factor X, a lot of students always say oxygen is factor X. So you have food plus water plus oxygen. A lot of people say oxygen. Well, oxygen is not required by every life form on the planet. And so we're going to get into a little bit of that with anaerobic respiration and fermentation. So watch that extra little video to help you answer some of your questions. Read the Module 4 overview and introduction, and watch the video on the carbonated ocean, because that's a really good one. It explains why that excessive carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is harmful to the ocean, which we've considered for a long time to be the sink for all this extra carbon dioxide. But the problem is that it is causing issues in the ocean. All right, so that's preliminary things for you to do. What do you have to do? Discussion board postings. You're going to have these every week, except for week 8, I believe. Discussion board postings. So your question, well, one of your questions is, are photosynthesis and cellular respiration processes opposite or complementary, or both? Okay, cellular respiration is taking glucose, breaking it down step by step by step to make ATP molecules, and you use oxygen in the process, and you give off carbon dioxide as a waste product. Okay, that's the basics of it. If you look at photosynthesis, it looks sort of opposite, because with photosynthesis, you're taking carbon dioxide and water, smashing those together by using sunlight energy, and making glucose. Oh, that sounds familiar. Oh yeah, that's the molecule that started cellular respiration. And also in the process, you're giving off oxygen as a waste product. So you can see right from my description that they're sort of opposite, but are they also complementary? Now here is just a a word to you about questions that are asked this way. Are photosynthesis and cellular respiration processes opposite or complementary or both? All right, if anybody gives you a question like that, you know the answer is both. Otherwise, they wouldn't have said that, right? They would have just said, are they opposite or complementary? Okay, so they have to be both. Here's something else for you to understand. So any of the organisms that do photosynthesis, that make their own glucose from carbon dioxide and water by using sunlight energy, also do cellular respiration. Because what's the point of cellular respiration? To break down glucose to make ATP molecules, energy molecules to run enzymes. The purpose of photosynthesis is to make food, glucose. Now, all the rest of us that don't do photosynthesis take in other organisms as our food, and then we have to break those down in order to make ATP. So examine that a little bit further and see what you can come up with. Another question that you have to answer is, are autotrophs the foundations of all ecosystems? So what the heck is an autotroph? Autotroph means a self-feeder, and that would be the organisms that do photosynthesis. So are they the foundation of all ecosystems? You'll have to think about that. Give that some thought. And, look up some information. Are they the foundation of all ecosystems? In your response post, you're going to talk about the release of carbon dioxide and its consequences, and that's one reason that you need to watch that video on the acidification of the ocean. Just saying. All right, and then you have a journal entry, and it's all about comparing, well, first of all, discussing aerobic respiration versus the two types of anaerobic respiration and fermentation. You're going to discuss those and tell what they are. You'll also compare them because one is done with oxygen and it is highly efficient. That's the aerobic respiration. And then the two types of anaerobic processes are less efficient, but they happen without oxygen, and so they don't require it. They can be used in environments where there is low oxygen or no oxygen. So you're going to discuss that. My video will also help you with your journal entry. How ancient is glycolysis? Glycolysis is the first pathway. It consists of a few steps in aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration, and fermentation. So that tells you they all have this one set of steps, chemical reactions in common. In fact, every organism on the planet can do glycolysis. So that's a hint for you that it must be very ancient, but you're going to find out some more information when you take a look at your textbook about how ancient it is and why we think that. You're also going to discuss ethanol as a biofuel because it is added now to just about every gasoline that I can think of out there that you buy to put in your car. So it's already being used as a biofuel. So you're going to discuss that. Why do I have this twice? But I do. So anyway, move on to milestone 2. Oh my goodness, I don't know. So anyway, milestone 2. This is the second part of your final project. All right, to me, this is the most important part of your project because the whole purpose of this is for you to take some topic in the world today that has to do with biology and relate the biology that you're learning about to that particular topic. Here it is. Biological concepts, section 3. It's milestone 2, so it's the second assignment that has to do with your final project, but it's your third section. So biological concepts, level of organization. Okay, at what level of organization does your topic impact living things? So if you're talking about climate change, global warming, that affects the entire biosphere, not just a species, not just a population, not a particular ecosystem. It affects the whole biosphere. So you see what I mean by level of organization? If you're talking about endangered species, then you're looking at level of organization of the species. But also the ecosystem is affected, because if you take out one top tier predator out of an ecosystem, like a bald eagle, there are consequences. But mainly it happens on the species level. Analysis. What are 3 biological ideas, concepts, processes that are involved in your particular topic? So if you think about climate change, the carbon cycle, the whole carbon cycle of the whole planet is a biological concept that has to do with your topic. If you're talking about endangered species, you might think of population ecology and the fact that this population has dwindled down to the point where it's no longer able to sustain itself. You could include reproduction there, food webs. There's all sorts of ideas that you could come up with. So what are 3 biological concepts or processes that have to do with your topic? And explain what they are here, okay? Not how they relate to your topic. Just explain them. What the heck is photosynthesis? What the heck is a food web? Okay? You get the idea. What's the carbon cycle? Then, in section C, how do those biological concepts, ideas, processes relate to your topic? How does the carbon cycle reflect, or what does that have to do with the release of excessive amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere? So relationship to your topic of all 3 of your biological ideas. Characteristics of life. Explain how at least one of the characteristics of life is affected by your particular topic. So adaptability, think about that in relationship to an endangered species. So the species has not been able to adapt to a particular ecosystem where there are so many stressors that are taking out so much of the population. Impact on health. So this can be human health or environmental health. How does your topic, how does your biological process of your topic impact human or environmental health, or both? You can do both if you want to. So an endangered species like a bald eagle, if you take it out of the ecosystem, then what does that do? It changes the whole food web, because there's not this top predator in the ecosystem that's taking out prey. And so the prey population can increase to a level where they're harmful. Another really good example of this is wolves in Yellowstone. They've been reintroduced to Yellowstone, and now we're finding that certain tree species are coming back to life and are just increasing. The native species of trees are coming back, and plants in general, because the elk population is being kept under control by the wolves now. So you get the idea. How does it impact health of the environment or human beings? So those are the 5 sections that you have to cover that have to do with biology in your final project, this milestone 2. The format is the same as the last one. It's an outline, but it is a detailed outline. So if you have Roman numeral 3, biological concepts, A section, level of organization, you're not going to have 3 words there. You need to explain this. You see that there are questions there, so you need to answer those. Now, you don't have to go into great detail, but you do have to answer them. The analysis, those 3 biological ideas, you have to explain what they are in this section. You don't just list them. You got to have more than that. Okay? And that's the way that I'm looking at it and the way that I'm grading. And finally, this pretty picture of Magnolia Plantation in Charleston. I love going there. Your tip of the week is ask me for help if you get stumped. I am here to help you. So email me, ask me, put a question on the general discussion board. Ask me questions. I'm here to help you. If you're not sure about something and you need clarification, I am here for you. Just ask away. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. Sometimes it's within minutes. Sometimes it's by the next day. It depends on what I have going on for that week. So, with that being said, I hope that you have a wonderful week this week and you enjoy the week that where you're examining cellular respiration and you're working on your final project, all the biology in your final project. I hope that you enjoy that, and I hope that you have a good week. Let me know if you need anything.